Harper and Harper Audio present Bashir Butros and the Jewel of the Nile by George Jreije. Performed by Ali Nasser. For Hannah, whose love gives me the strength to keep writing. 1. The Treasure at the Bottom of the Sea. Bashir Butros firmly believed that the best place to spend the summer was right here in Lebanon. That was, if he could survive hurrying across the coastline, where he faced an endless crowd of sun-tanning adults and children blasting each other water guns. Meanwhile, both popsicles he clutched were already dripping spots of orange, red, and blue all over the rocky shore. Had Bashir brought a few kebabs, he could have cooked them right there on the ground. Farah sat at their usual spot, beyond all the noisy tourists by the water. Her long black hair swung from side to side while she waved. "Get your butt over here!" Bashir rushed across the scalding rock to get to her before their frozen treats melted entirely, handing one off to Farah and stealing the best spot on the whole Mediterranean coast, right next to his best friend. He stuck his burning feet in the sea and sighed. Sweet relief. "Shukran, dude," she said, taking a bite. "3 flavors? This is the good stuff." Bashir brushed away one of his black curls, squinting from the too bright sun. "I don't think I could survive this heat without these popsicles." "Bet you're excited to head home tomorrow," she said. "It's not as hot in America." Biting a chunk off the popsicle, Bashir shook his head. "But you won't be there." "I have to stay another week, while my friends get to catch up without me back in San Diego," she said. "But when I get home, I'm going to finish upgrading my game station with the latest hardware, so we can play the new Zombie Zorgs. How about you?" Bashir shrugged. I guess that I'll have to hang out with all my friends too." The bitterness of that lie overwhelmed even the popsicle's sweetness. Friends? As if he had any of those. None like Farah, at least. She was basically a genius at every subject. One of the best swimmers on the coast. And both their families had spent their summers in Lebanon since she and he were in diapers. Besides, unlike her, the other kids at his school didn't like that he brought falafel instead of hamburgers and dipped chips in hummus instead of salsa. Not to mention Farah could talk to anyone, while he was usually too nervous to even try. And lately, the world had begun to feel 10 degrees warmer each time they hung out. A part of him wanted to ask if she felt the same, but before he could consider how, a familiar, condescending voice interrupted in broken English. "What a shame that you two must leave. Nowhere in your country can compare to our waters here." Farah turned around and scrunched her face as if some of the salty sea had splashed right into her mouth. His cousin Wasim stood behind them. He was a year older, and everything Bashir wasn't. Loud and proud, he marched around like the coast was his backyard, and everyone, including Farah and Bashir, were just his guests. Farah snapped, "These are not your waters, fig for brains. I'm from here too." Wasim placed his hands on his hips. "Then why are you leaving?" Farah fumed while Bashir sighed. Not another argument. His intrusive cousin and best friend had been at odds forever. Wasim loved to poke fun at Farah, who couldn't help but try and put him in his place. But while the two went at each other, Bashir felt a sudden chill and peered down. Lines of sticky orange, red, and blue ran down his belly. Wasim and Farah quieted down, noticing his mess. He wrapped his arms around his chest, wishing he could just curl up into a ball and hide his embarrassment. But instead of laughing, Farah handed him a napkin from her polka-dot beach bag. Wasim pointed at the napkin and said, "Give me one of those for my nose."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?